This is going to be about us finally moving on. It's a new moon energy, which is always a time of a cosmic reset where we are shedding our old skin, where we are ending old cycles, these faded karmic synchronistic sort of eerie energies that are pointing us toward our new beginning. Hi everyone, Heather here with astrologywithheather.com, and I am back with another special extended 2-week forecast. This one is for December 4th all the way through to December 17th of 2021, covering the total new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Sagittarius all the way through to the full moon, the entire waxing phase of this coming lunar cycle. And this total eclipse is an important one. I mentioned with the last lunar eclipse in the video that I did for the last 2 weeks that lunar eclipse in the sign of Taurus that we just experienced was almost like a precursor or a preview of the energies to come in 2022 and all the way through to the middle of 2023 when the nodes change signs. And so that was kind of like ushering us into these faded karmic synchronistic sort of eerie energies that are pointing us toward our new beginnings, right? It's kind of like foreshadowing for what's to come. Well, this this solar eclipse, the total solar eclipse in the sign of Sagittarius, is literally the exact opposite. It's the final solar eclipse in a series of 18 months where we've been having eclipses in the signs of Sagittarius and in Gemini. It's a new moon energy, which is always a time of a cosmic reset where we are shedding our old skin, where we are ending old cycles, and where we're preparing to seed something new. In this particular circumstance, because it is a total solar eclipse with the south node, that energy of endings, surrendering, moving on, unraveling, that's going to be way more prevalent than it normally even is with a new moon. And so this is going to be about us finally moving on. There's something we've been holding on to. There's a cycle, an addiction. There's some sort of connection to something that we're kind of over. It's like, I'm over it. This is not who I am anymore. I've already seen the new path that I need to move into. I've already started to move into that new path that I need to move into because the eclipses would make that so over the last 18 months. But there's something that you need to release, that you need to let go of in order to finalize things, in order to really wrap things up and bring things to a conclusion in preparation for the new beginnings that we were shown at the time of the blood moon lunar eclipse that happened in the sign of Taurus just 2 weeks ago. In order for us to finally embrace a new path, to finally move on to the next phase in our soul's growth, our soul's evolution, there's something left on the table that needs to be cleared away. And that's what this energy of the total solar eclipse in the sign of Sagittarius is really going to show us. In Sagittarius, it could be simply that we need to let go of old belief systems, old ideologies that are no longer serving us and that are preventing us from embracing this new path. It could be that we need to very physically shed something. And so we're going to get into that a little bit more in detail in just a minute. But before we do, I just want to mention, for those who are new to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I do a new weekly forecast or a new video every single Saturday at 9 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time, and so you don't want to miss that. Even if you're not new to my channel, the way that I structure my videos is that I give a 5 to 10 minute general forecast at the beginning. Please don't skip this because it'll provide an important context for what we'll be talking about in the forecast for all 12 signs. Speaking of which, when we do get into the forecast for all 12 signs, make sure you listen to your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign to get a more holistic overview of the energy for the week ahead. Your rising sign will be the most predominant energy, your sun sign will be secondary, and your moon sign is important to listen to as well, although this interpretation will be more internalized and subjective. Finally, at the end of each video, I do a 2 to 3 minute overview of what we'll be discussing in the next video, which will be for the full moon that'll be happening in the sign of Gemini. And so stick around until the end if you're interested in that. And so, coming back into the forecast for the next 2 weeks, we have this powerful eclipse. We're moving on from something, and there's an energy of needing to, like, very clearly and very definitively separate ourselves from something. And that's really going to be coming up in the weeks after the eclipse, especially around the 15th of December. So, just prior to the full moon that we're going to be discussing next time around, because Mars is actually going to enter the sign of Sagittarius. It'll be in the sign of Scorpio, in its home sign traditionally, at the time of the actual eclipse. But shortly thereafter, it's moving into Sagittarius, and it's going to come into a very tight, very close, exact conjunction with the South Node. And this is super important in general, but especially when it's in eclipse season that we're having an activation of the nodes, because the nodes are actually the astronomical calculations that are used to predict the eclipses, right? It shows you where the eclipse points are across the ecliptic. And so when we have that conjunction or that activation of an already hypersensitized area with this south node, because the eclipses activate a certain area of the zodiac, right, of our charts. And so we have this energy here of an already sensitized south node that's super, super activated in eclipse season, being even more activated. And Mars is a planet that has to do with initiation, so it's beginnings and jumping into something. And it could be that we're shedding our old skin, we're finally letting go of old value systems, old beliefs, old identities, old situations in our lives that we don't need anymore. And we're jumping straight into something new as a result of that, right? And that something new, if that is the case, will be connected to our past or even to our past life experience. So it's almost like we've already been there, done that, dealt with this energy, right? And that could be a part of what we're experiencing with that Mars conjunction to the South Node. And we'll discuss what that looks like for all 12 signs when we get into the 12 signs forecast. But the other thing that it could bring is separation. Mars is a malefic influence in the astrology. It's not in a positive configuration necessarily, although Mars does tend to do better in the fire signs overall over the earth and water signs, with the exception of Scorpio, which obviously is its ruler, and Capricorn and all of that too. But when it's in, so Mars, it's considered a malefic influence. It has the ability to stop things, to say no to things, and to separate, right? And so when we talk about Mars, it's kind of like it's opposite energy, or it's like balancing energy, is Venus, which has the ability to bring collaborations. It brings things together, right? That's the energy of Venus. The energy of Mars is the opposite of that, where it has the ability to sever connections, sever ties, and pull people, situations, things apart, right? So it has this separating influence. And so this could be a time where once and for all we decide to separate ourselves from something, literally or figuratively. It could be that we literally need to end or sever a contract. It might be that we literally need to end a connection with somebody, sever our ties in relationships, cut that cord, right? That's keeping us bound to these past cycles, these karmic situations that keep repeating themselves in this sort of pattern over and over and over again that doesn't feel good, and it's not working for us anymore. It's tied to what's comfortable and what we've done before, but it's not what we need to continue to be doing. And so that's a big part of the energy. And so that's something that I just wanted to make note of, because we're coming into the new moon. And yes, that could be the start of a separation or the start of an ending to something. But Mars isn't in the mix yet. Mars is going to be in the sign of Scorpio. It'll actually still be in a square with Jupiter, which will actually come exact on December 7th, which is an energy of kind of overdoing things, overreacting to things, which we talked a little bit about, in the prior video. But when it moves into Sagittarius, it's kind of like a once and for all energy, like putting your foot down, asserting yourself in some way, and finally ending what needs to be ended so you can move forward and initiate these new plans, these new ambitions that are more in alignment with your future, right? With what the nodes are trying to pull you into. They're trying to pull you out of one thing because it's not part of your soul's path anymore, in order to align you with something different, a new thing, right? That you're going to be more excited about, and that's going to be more fruitful for you. That you might go a little too far into, which is a whole nother topic in and of itself. And so that's what's going on for these next 2 weeks. And so let's get into the forecast for all 12 signs. But before we do, I actually just wanted to make a quick announcement. Once again, this video is being sponsored by our friends at the Honeycomb Collective. They make these really amazing astrological almanacs and planners that I've talked to you about many times before. I love, love, love these. I use them every single day as a professional astrologer and just to navigate my life, to navigate my husband's life. It shows all of your personal planetary aspects. It shows all of the planetary aspects in the mundane astrology. It has so many different features, you guys. I couldn't dream up a better astrological resource than this, and it's super, super affordable. And I just don't know how they put all this together. It's crazy. So honeycomb.co is the website, but they also just launched a new art store. And this art store is geared toward elevating artists in the astrological community by collaborating with them and giving them an outlet to showcase and to share their work with the world. And I'm super excited about this because it's coming just in time for the holidays, so you can get some astrology related gifts for your friends and family. And I actually have a super exciting coupon code for you to get 10% off. It's Eclipse 10, so you can find that here. And I just wanted to kind of show you, that's why I'm sitting here with this print here, which is super cute. Hopefully my lights aren't lighting it up in a sort of weird way, but I love, love, love this. This is beautiful. And so this is a Persephone print, and it's supposed to be aligned with the energy of one of the decans or decans in the sign of Aries. And so a lot of the artwork I love because it's symbolic and there are like layers of meaning to it. It's not just straightforward like, this is the symbol for Aries, this is the symbol for, Scorpio. There's some of that. But the stuff that I chose that I really love was this print. And then also I have this t-shirt that I'm wearing by an artist named Ophelia Mandara. And it's the Virgo print, and it has like wheat, and I don't know if you could see, there's like crystals on it and things like that. So it's not just like straightforward. There's like layers of meaning in it, which I think is super cool. And anyway, all of the artwork on their website is beautiful. It's easy to search through. You can search by artist. You can search by sign of the zodiac or planet. You can search by which type of item you want, like a t-shirt or a print. And so you can find that link down in the description below. Again, you can get 10% off through the eclipse that I'm talking about here on December 4th with the coupon code Eclipse10. Thank you again, Honeycomb Collective, for sponsoring this video, and I'll see you in the forecast for all 12 signs. All right, and for Aries rising. So for Aries, this could very literally be you actually letting go of some old idea, some old value system, some old belief that is no longer serving you, that's holding you back. And this could be something that you really truly valued and held dear as the absolute ultimate truth for a very long time. And so it could actually be quite difficult for you to release this, to let go of these thoughts, these ideas, these perceptions of reality that are no longer serving you. With Mercury in the mix, that's especially the case, right? Mercury rules our mind and our mindset. It rules our rational thought process. It rules our communication and the way that we show up and share things with the world. It could even be that you communicated a certain belief or idea or even taught it to the masses in the past. And now you realize that this is not working for you anymore, that this is not the ultimate truth, or that this is a philosophy or a value system that you need to move on from, which can make it kind of hard. It could feel almost like an unraveling, or you kind of yeah, it might feel a little bit more personal than it normally would with something like that. Or you might feel ashamed or something, or you might be wanting to hold on to it because of that sensation of, in the past, this worked for me. In the past, I shared this. How could I possibly change course and change my mind now? Well, right now, it's the time, right? The time is now to do that. This could also be an energy where you could have some sort of new beginning that's coming in that's connected to a past educational pursuit, something that you learned previous to this time that you need to bring back around or utilize in a new way. It's going to feel very fated, very karmic, very synchronistic, very important. With the eclipses, the main thing is that when you feel it, you really feel it. And so it's like a knowing. If you are aware, if you are opened up, if you are paying attention, you just know that this is part of that eclipse path. You just know that this is something that you need to move into or move on from. It becomes very clear because it feels like extra strange. I don't know how to describe this because it sort of transcends description, but if you've experienced it, you'll know. And all of you have probably experienced it because you're here watching this video, so you're way more open to these types of things than the average person already. But later on, the second week of this forecast, on December 15th, we're actually going to be experiencing that Mars conjunction to the South Node. This is when you could actually initiate something involving an educational pursuit, a new idea. You might explore a new possibility, a new adventure, a new location, even. Or it could be a separation from an old ideology that you finally solidify and you put it out there. You say, I don't believe this anymore. This could also be the end, once and for all, of some sort of legal battle or legal issue for a certain subset of these Aries people that we're talking to here. And this could also be, the ending of an educational pursuit or the ending of a specific connection to a foreign culture or a foreign country or to people or someone in a foreign culture or a foreign country, or a connection or a disconnection from an old teacher. This could also be you initiating a new connection with a new teacher that feels fated and important and prominent, and you need to jump right into it. But there's also something being severed here. You're severing your ties to the past when it comes to your belief systems, ideologies, education, the way that you view and understand the world around you. And there's something new that you're bringing in its place, and you're gung ho about it, especially that second week around the time of December 15th. Okay. And then for Taurus and for Taurus rising, this new moon total solar eclipse is happening in your eighth house. This is, kind of a challenging energy, I would say, for some Taurus people, just because there could be a lot of emotions brought up related to the past. This could be you experiencing or re experiencing triggers to past trauma, past anxieties, past situations that cause you to feel a lot of fear. There could be fear that's being stirred up and brought up for you really intensely around the time of the eclipse on December 4th. And it could be very difficult to navigate and understand what is actually going on here because Mercury will be in a conjunction to this eclipse, and it'll be squaring Neptune. That square will come exact the following week on December 7th. And so there's a lot of confusion initially around what's going on and what needs to happen here. It could also be that something's being brought up that you need to let go of, involving a joint financial venture, involving, inheritance or joint finances in marriage, involving taxes or debt. It could be that you finally are kind of looking at your financial situation, and it becomes very clear that you need to pay off some debts and kind of get your ducks in a row. It could also be that, something fated comes up around a debt or an insurance policy or something along those lines. The second week of this forecast, around December 15th, when Mars comes into the mix, that's going to be a period where you finally, once and for all, separate yourself from your past debts, your past financial situations or connections that are no longer serving you, your past financial patterns that are keeping you stuck and disempowered and fearful, and moving on to initiate something brand new. This could also be you finally moving on and separating yourself from the past when it comes to power and control issues, past abuse, past traumas, past past energies and situations that stimulated a lot of fear. This could also be you cutting yourself off from some sort of like occult study or something like that, that maybe you got yourself way into deep, way over your head. Or it could be you jumping into really studying various occult sciences and things like that, or psychology, or, an eighth house topic. You could even be studying death, or becoming a death doula or something like that, or letting go of those types of things. It's a coming and going. You're going to be letting go of some stuff and embracing a new path in this area at the same time. And so that's what's going on for Taurus. For Gemini and for Gemini rising. So for Gemini, this energy is happening in your seventh house, which is the house of relationships. It's likely that you've had some twists and turns and some curveballs when it comes to your relationships. And that doesn't just mean your marriage or your romantic partnerships. This is all of your close personal relationships, including close one-on-one connections in friendship, close business partnerships, close connections, even sometimes with family. It's anyone that you're close to in this one-on-one sort of energy, especially, obviously marriage partners and things like that are the most predominant energy in the seventh house. But, it's just relationships overall. And so there could be something that's stimulated around the time of the eclipse that causes you to realize that you need to finally let go of an old relationship or an old pattern in relationships once and for all. The ability to have clarity around what you actually need to do to get there, that's where there's going to be a little bit of confusion, because Mercury is in a conjunction with this eclipse. It's squaring Neptune in the sign of Pisces. It could even be that this is a business partnership or a work-related relationship that comes up for you in a way that's very karmic and very fated, where you realize that something needs to change, an old cycle must end, but you're not clear on what that looks like or how you're going to actually do that and make it happen. Especially the following week, December 7th, you're going to have a lot of energy around confusion around your work and around your relationships. However, the following week on December 15th, you're going to have a Mars conjunction to the South Node that'll cause you to sever connections that you don't need anymore once and for all. You'll be able to cut ties with old contracts, old agreements, old friendships, old relationships that are not serving you, that you know that your soul is craving to move on from, and you're going to be able to initiate something new. You could have a new relationship that comes in around these times that feels really intense and also really familiar at the same time. If that's the case, I say roll with it, because that's fate stepping in. That's the universe taking hold and kind of guiding you in a new direction. And these relationships that come in around the time of the eclipse, they are absolutely fated, and they are absolutely going to change your life in one way or another. And so it's an important time for relationships overall for Gemini. Okay. And then for Cancer and for Cancer rising. So for Cancer, this energy, this new moon total solar eclipse is happening in your sixth house of health, work, and daily routines. And so there's a need to change something or start something new. So it's kind of like your day-to-day mundane reality that makes up the bigger picture and sustains your existence. There's something here in the average experience that you have on a day-to-day basis that needs to change, shift, or that you need to let go of. It could also mean that you need a change in career path, a change in your work, or that you finally just realize that once and for all you need to let go of working so hard. The North Node in the 12th house has been begging you to take some time to relax, to explore your spiritual practices, your creative reality, your inner worlds. And, this could be a time where you might even be kind of forced into it. Sometimes when you have these types of eclipses, it's like all of a sudden, you're laid off. I'm not saying that this is going to happen to everyone, but all of a sudden you find yourself laid off or having downtime that you didn't already have because something is severed or something is ended. And that causes you to have to turn inward and actually focus more on your own relaxation, rest, self-care, spirituality, all of these things. And that could be the case for some people. I would say also just pay attention and take care of your health. There could be new health-related complications, but also new health-related solutions that come up for you at this time, where you can let go of an old health issue that you're kind of confused about. It's like something's coming up and you feel like you're about to resolve this, or that you need to do something or move in a new direction, but it's not going to be exactly clear what to do, probably until around December 15th, where it's like all of a sudden and you just jump right in. You let go of the foods you don't need to eat. You let go of the practitioners that are not helping you to get better. You let go of, whatever it is in your daily habits that you need to let go of, and you embrace a new path, or you start maybe with Mars, a new exercise routine, or you reinvigorate an old exercise routine and bring it back into your reality. There's a lot that could go on there. So for Cancers, expect changes, surrendering, and new paths to be opening up for you, involving your health, your work, which could create bigger opportunities for you, fated opportunities for you in your work moving forward, and just overall in your daily habits and routines. It doesn't have to be work related. Okay. And then for Leo and for Leo rising. So for Leo, this new moon, total solar eclipse in the sign of Sagittarius is happening in your fifth house, which is the house of joy. It's the house of pleasure. It's the house of fun and play and children and all sorts of wonderful things. It's also the house of sex and sexuality. And so this could be an ending or a letting go of like an affair or a fling or some sort of sexual relationship that is no longer serving you. Maybe you realize, especially because this full moon eclipse is going to be in sextile to Saturn in your seventh house, that you want something a little bit more committed, a little bit long term. And what you're in right now was great. It served a purpose. It was fun, and it threw you into a new path, but now you're ready to move on, right? Now you're ready for something more solid. It could also just be that there's some sort of old activity or hobby or passion of yours that you're ready to bring back into the mix. You're ready to revisit. You're ready to bring back into your reality in a big way. And in order to do that, you have to let go of a lot of your hobbies and interests and things, or maybe some of your hobbies and interests that are kind of in the way. There could also be major fated new developments involving your children. If you have any major changes in your relationship with your children or in the lives of your children, that could cause you to have to let go of something within that relationship, or cause your children to have to let go of something in order to embrace a new path that's more exciting and more passionate, that you really want to embrace. I'm thinking of someone in my head right now that actually this applies to. So it could be letting go of an old system that you've been working with involving your children, especially maybe with that Mercury energy involves like the mind or education, and embracing something new. You might go all in a couple weeks out from the eclipse, so around December 15th when we have the Mars conjunction to the South Node, because it might be a little confusing. You might feel like you need to do this around the time of the eclipse, before, during, or after, but it's not going to be clear how to make it happen, and you'll be like all in by the time we get to the middle of December. Like, all right, I know exactly what I need to do. I know exactly what I need to cut ties with, and now I can move on. And so this is a passionate energy. This is an exciting energy, and this is definitely a more positive energy for Leos than for a lot of the signs, which is good news, because Leos and all of the fixed signs have been hit quite hard by the Saturn-Uranus square and the recent activations to the Saturn-Uranus square, and that's not going to let up, but at least the eclipses are bringing you a reconnection with your joy. All right, and then for Virgo and for Virgo rising. So for Virgo, this energy is happening in your fourth house of the home, family, property, and real estate. This is where you need to let go of something. Maybe you need to let go of your place of living. Maybe you need to let go of an idea around how your home life should be, how your family life should be. Maybe there's a lot of chaos in the home that you're having trouble working through and figuring out, and you need to let go of that so you can move on to embrace something new. There could be some confusion around your daily habits and routines, or actually, no, this could be you letting go of something actually in order to embrace better daily habits and routines, but there could be some confusion involving your family relationships that might be preventing you from going all in to make the changes that you need to make, or to let go of the cycles, the patterns, the old energies in your home and family life that you need to let go of. This could also be letting go of an aspect of your childhood or your upbringing or your early environment, or some sort of issue involving your parents. And you'll finally know exactly what to do I would say right after the eclipse, December 7th, it's kind of murky, especially around there. But December 15th, it's kind of like all of a sudden you feel supercharged, ambitious, very clear, and you're just going to jump all in and cut ties where you need to cut ties and embrace the new where you need to embrace the new. All right, and for Libra rising. So for Libras, this energy is happening in your third house, which is the house of communication. It's the house of community. It's the house of siblings, extended family members, short distance travel, commutes, vehicles, education programs, especially early education or certificate programs, writing, marketing, so many things that we take for granted that are such a big part of our day-to-day experience fall in the third house arena. And so for you, there might be a lot of energy around these things, a lot of changes around just a lot of bits and pieces in your life. This could be you having to do something as mundane as letting go of an old vehicle that maybe you're quite attached to, or letting go of a commute because it's not serving you anymore, because it's bogging you down and it's just draining your energy, or letting go of travel plans, letting go of certain courses or certificate programs that you've entered into that you realize are not serving your path and you don't need to complete them. It can be hard, when you've engaged with something so fully to release it without actually seeing it through. But this is a time where you might have to do that in a lot of ways. This could also bring up old energies or old complications or confusions around your coworkers and your relationship with your coworkers, around your community, and around your extended family members and siblings that need to be resolved. It could even be that you need to cut ties with somebody once and for all that falls under that realm. And it'll be a little murky about, you also could have some really faded karmic communication that comes in because Mercury is in a conjunction. Mercury is in a conjunction to the eclipse energy. And it's kind of like there's a confusing message that comes through, or a confusing idea. It's like there's a sense that something needs to happen and you know the themes, but you can't quite put it together or pin it down. By December 15th, it'll be very clear and you'll have the exact direction that you need to take and you'll be able to actually take action on it. And so sit tight with that. Some things will probably unfold that you'll need to actually address and deal with. But if you're unclear, the clarity will come, and the motivation to take action, the motivation to cut ties, the motivation to embrace the new, that'll come too, and you'll know exactly what to do. For Scorpio rising. So for Scorpio, this energy is happening in your second house, which is the house of money, finances. And so this could be you needing to let go of something once and for all involving your finances. It's kind of like there's an old way that you used to deal with your resources that's just not working for you anymore. Maybe there's an old avenue for creating revenue or income that is dead and gone and buried, and you don't need to do it anymore. But maybe fear or comfort has kept you stuck in a rut where you haven't been able to actually let go and move on and move forward. Now's the time where you'll be able to actually do that. And doing that could cause a ripple effect that could create a better, more solid foundation for you in your home life, in your family life, with your property or with the ownership of property. And so it's okay. It might feel scary. There's something you have to cut ties with financially, but it's okay, right? You have to do that in order to embrace the new beginnings that are coming in for you. And it could also be that you have to also start something new. There's kind of like an old project or an old way of creating resources that you forgot about or that you haven't really utilized or harnessed that could be coming back around that you need to actually embrace once again. But there could be changes, especially like unexpected changes or a change in direction involving your financial situation. You're going to need to take action on something, especially a couple weeks in as we get to that Mars South Node conjunction on December 15th. For Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising. So for Sagittarius, this energy is happening in your first house, in your sign. And so this is a powerful time of brand new beginnings for you. This is where you are ending a lot. You are cutting ties with who you once were, what you once stood for, right? That's that energy of Sagittarius. Maybe your value systems have changed. Maybe your life has changed. Maybe there's something that you need to let go of once and for all in order to establish and create more freedom for yourself. There could be some home and family issues that could confuse and muddle your thought processes and cause you to um, maybe lose direction or feel a lack of direction around this time. It's kind of like you need to embrace something new. You need to let go once and for all of something old in your life that is not serving you, that used to be a big part of your identity, but you also, want to hold on to that in a lot of ways. And there are certain parts of it that you maybe don't want to let go of or you don't need to let go of. And there can be some confusion, and some of that confusion can stem from communications and connections with family. So that's just something to be aware of. But for the most part, this is about you severing ties with your past, severing ties with your old ideologies, your old viewpoints, anything that's preventing you from fully being yourself and from fully being free. And this is embracing who you truly are. And, in terms of like your past life experience, maybe bringing that back into the mix and becoming more of that, right? So tapping into who you were maybe in a past life or in a past life in this lifetime and bringing the benefits and talents and good qualities of that experience into this reality here and now. For Sagittarius in particular, the conjunction between Mars and the South Node on December 15th is going to be especially potent, especially if you are a Sun, Moon, or Rising Sagittarius, anywhere from 0 to 5 degrees. This is going to be a major push. You're going to be super amped up, super ambitious, super driven, and also ready to just assert your boundaries left and right. You're going to be like, no, yes, no, yes. Very definitive, very clear. Whereas around the time of the eclipse, that might not be the case. Your boundaries are going to be a little loose. And then that's probably why some of you are going to have to assert them 2 weeks out. Like, why did I say that? Why did I commit to that? That's not who I am. That's not what I want. No. And so that's what's going on for Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising. So for Capricorn and for Capricorn rising. So for Capricorns, this new moon total solar eclipse is happening in your 12th house, which is the house of endings, wrapping things up, letting things go. And so for you guys, this could be a major purge. This is the ending of a massive cycle in all of the lives of all of the Capricorns, especially Capricorn rising people. This is where you are shedding a lot from your past, old addictions, compulsions, old cycles, old patterns, old habits, old energies that are repetitive, that you've been stuck in, that have been habitual, that have been unconscious. You're conscious of them now. And it's time to let go. It's time to move on. You can't embrace your new reality until you have. This could also be you maybe embracing a little bit more your spiritual path. Maybe you're shedding old ideas, old value systems around your spirituality and around your beliefs, and you're embracing something new that really isn't something new. It's kind of something that's familiar, but you maybe haven't gone all in on. There could be a little bit of confusion around these ideologies and things like that at the beginning. Also, this is really important also to pay attention to your dreams, I should say, because the 12th house is the house where dreams kind of are. And so your sleep might be restless for the next month, really, and you might be having some crazy dreams. Those dreams are potentially prophetic. They might be actually showing you something or leading you somewhere. So you want to pay attention to what comes up for you in dreams and in meditation, in daydreams even. Write it down, put it on paper, because you're going to want to come back to that, because this is something important, and you'll feel when it's important too. This is also, the energy of the 12th house represents places that are hidden away from normal society. That includes hospitals, rehabilitation centers. So very literally, if you have addictions, this could be you having to go to a rehabilitation center or something like that. Not for everyone. That's a very specific subset of our viewers here, obviously. But that could be, or you could be dealing with a rehabilitation center because someone in your life is going to rehab or something like that. This could also be It's prisons, right? It's places where people, again, go to be away from normal society. It could be that you're going on a spiritual retreat or that you need something like that and you're ready to kind of like pull the trigger, but you're not quite sure if this is a good idea. By the time we get to December 15th and Mars comes into a conjunction with the South Node, you'll be ready. You'll know what you need to disconnect from and let go of in your life and what you need to embrace in terms of your new spiritual path. It could also be, cutting ties with somebody who is heavily involved in these 12th house institutions. So it could be that you have someone very literally that you know who's in prison. It could be that you have someone very literally who you know who's in rehab or something like that. And maybe it's time that you kind of move on from that connection, unfortunately. Or maybe you need to embrace it more. And that's what's coming with that Mars energy. And you need to take action and help them in some way. This could also be the beginning or ending of a charitable pursuit that you've really held dear. If it's an ending, it's kind of like it's not in alignment to my ideologies and my viewpoints anymore. And I don't think this is a worthy cause. So I'm going to disconnect my energy from it. Versus if it's something new, it'll be something that's familiar that you've always wanted to give back to. And it's coming back around in a very faded, very in your face way. Aquarius and Aquarius rising. So for Aquarius, this is a happy energy in your 11th house of friends, social networks, and people who you surround yourself with by choice. It could be that old friendships come back around for you to embrace, or past life connections come back around in the form of new friendships that feel familiar, feel important, feel eerily synchronistic. It could also be that there's a faded circumstance that comes up that causes you to have to end something in your current friendships. It could be that you have to cut ties with people. And that's actually not going to be a bad thing. It's almost like an energy that you're embracing because it's like it needs to happen. You need to sever those cords. And it could be a little bit confusing. Confusioning. It could be a little bit confusing to figure out what to do in the moment. There could be a message that comes through from a friend or about a friend that just kind of sends you off kilter and it feels like, oh gosh, I have to do something with this. And that's fate stepping in and showing you that you need to do something with this. But the action that you take might not be apparent until a couple weeks in around December 15th with the Mars conjunction to the South Node. This could also bring a very easy severing of ties in connection with other people one on one, close friendships, romantic partnerships, business relationships, contracts, agreements, negotiations that are just not working anymore. And it'll be easy. It'll be like both parties agree, like, all right, we need to stop this. We both know past its expiration date, let's move on. On the opposite end, there could be faded new connections that come in a similar respect where it feels, again, familiar, comfortable, synchronistic, strange, and it feels like you need to embrace it. If that's the case, roll with that energy. And so that's what's coming up for Aquarius. And for Pisces rising, last but never least, for Pisces, you've been going through a period of shedding your old skin, letting things go, and embracing a more spiritual or more maybe altruistic path, even when it comes to your work. Right? Your career. Or if it's not your work and career, it's your legacy that you leave behind after work, or it's the way that you kind of contribute to society at large, what you put out there for public consumption, for people to see, for people to utilize, those types of things. There's something that you're moving away from when it comes to your work, so you can embrace something new, a new path. It could be, I could see a lot of Pisces people quitting their jobs right now, especially Pisces rising people. I think that could be a big thing. At first, there could be some confusion. So it's kind of like a fated circumstance comes up for you sometime over the next couple of weeks where it's like murky. It's like, this is a weird communication. This is a weird text I got. This is a weird email from my boss. I'm not sure what to do with this, right? I feel like I need to do something with it. It feels important, but I don't really know what to make of this. By the time you get to December 15th with the South Node conjunct Mars, you're going to know exactly what to do. It'll be readily apparent. I need to cut ties. I need to start something new. I need to do this. I need to do that. You might also just be feeling super ambitious about a faded new project or pursuit involving your career that's really going to get a lot of traction, that's really meant to be yours. And that could be part of this energy too. I would say there could be arguments and disputes with authority figures around this time and confusing interactions with authority figures that feel sort of faded, but it's like, I don't know what to do. You could say the wrong thing, so maybe hold your tongue if you don't feel clear. But once we get in again toward that time around December 15th, it's kind of like I know exactly what to do. I know exactly what to say. I have good boundaries. I'm going to say no to this person and I'm going to say yes to this opportunity and I'm all in. And so that's what's going on for Pisces. And that is my forecast for all 12 signs. And so before we sign off here, I just want to kind of talk a little bit about the full moon in Gemini, which is coming up on the 18th of December, because I like this energy. We have a lot of intensity at the end of this year. That's no secret. But we do have some little windows of like good stuff going on. And I actually like the energy of the full moon in the sign of Gemini because it's going to be in trine with Jupiter. And everybody loves a good trine of Jupiter, the great benefic planet. And so this is going to be a shift in our intellectual perspective, where we're going to be able to see things more optimistically. We're going to be able to embrace new opportunities, not just psychologically, but maybe even physically. This is a time where something can come up or be illuminated about the new path that we're moving into. That could be, or that we've already moved into and we've already embraced, that could be really positive and really uplifting, where there's a lot of chaos and a lot of shifting and a lot of final changes going on at the end of this year. It's really interesting how all of these energies of just like wrapping up and moving on and transition are sort of coinciding all at the same time at the end of the Gregorian calendar year, which has nothing to do with the astrology or the astronomy. Because it really is going to feel like we're like ending a lot and shifting a lot and just becoming new people in the new year. But I love, love, love this full moon because it's going to help us to embrace the positive aspects of what we've been moving into, what we've been creating for ourselves, the changes we've been making on a lot of different levels over the course of 2021. Just in time for the new year, we can celebrate our accomplishments and see the new opportunities start to unfold. Even if we can't embrace them all at once just then, they're there, they're visible, we're seeing them start to culminate, right? And so that's a wonderful energy. And so that's what's going to be happening at the end of this or middle of this month. And so we'll talk about that a little bit more in just 2 weeks. And in the meantime, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and make sure you share this with your friends if you feel like they could benefit from the information that I shared with you today. I also highly recommend that you follow me on Instagram. My handle is @astrologywithheather. I share updates about the astrology and tutorials and teach astrology and all sorts of things like that throughout the week in little nuggets and bits and pieces. And so you can find me there. Thank you guys again, and I will see you next time. Bye, everyone.